Imagine getting stuck on the side of the road in the middle of a hot summer in Texas with no cell phone. No businesses within 10 miles in either direction. It's just you, your thoughts, and the Texas heat. This is the iWorthy podcast. Let's go.
I can't believe he just said that.
Looking at the mirror and what I see, iWorthy. Haters can't stop what is meant to be, iWorthy. I get up every time I fall down, cause the world keeps spinning around. And after everything is said and done, best believe iWorthy.
I got my first cell phone in 1999. There were no smartphones at the time. It was a Nokia with a retractable antenna, and it was large by today's standards, but it served its purpose. I soon ditched the cell phone because of the cost. It was just too high at the time for me. I didn't get another cell phone until 2006. At the time, cell phones were quickly transitioning from a novelty to a necessity. But I still didn't want one because honestly, I didn't want people to be able to get a hold of me all the time. But one day I received a promotion at work and I was issued a company cell phone. Now, I think I'm a pretty smart guy, but it took me a long time to figure out that whole predictive text thing. It was just weird. But once I figured it out, I was texting everybody. You get a text and you get a text and you get a text. I went from not wanting a cell phone to not wanting to be without a cell phone in a very short period of time. Then in June of 2007, I was offered a position at a different company, which meant I had to relinquish my company cell phone. Now, at this point in life, I was too dependent on cell phones to go without a cell phone. So I went online and I bought one. The company cell phone was taken from me on my last day of work, which was on a Friday. My new cell phone wasn't going to arrive to me until Monday. So that meant I needed to make it through the weekend without a cell phone. No big deal. I'd gone for years without a cell phone before. What's 2 days? Now, the next day was blazing hot. A typical 100-degree Saturday afternoon in Texas. And I decided to go to Oklahoma to play some poker. This is a trip that I'd taken many times before without a cell phone. Now, on I-35 between Alliance Airport and Denton, Texas, there was about 20 miles of nothingness. Maybe it still is. I don't know. I haven't been there in a while, but as I'm driving in this nothingness, I hear a loud noise and a shuffling sound like a playing card in the spokes of a bicycle tire. You see, I had recently had my brake pads replaced, and the clip that holds the brake pads onto the brakes came loose and was caught in the rim of my tire, and my car tires were pulled to a screeching halt, and I was now stuck on the side of the road in the middle of nothingness on a 100-degree day with no cell phone. I was left with two options at this point: get out the car and hitchhike, or get out of the car and walk. Neither option sounded good to me at that time. As far as hitchhiking, I convinced myself that no one was going to stop to pick me up. And if I'm being honest, if I saw me hitchhiking, I wouldn't be too quick to pick me up either. So I didn't consider hitchhiking a real option, which meant that I had to walk north or south at least 10 miles. The thought of walking in this 100-degree weather for 10 miles paralyzed me, and I sat in the car, in the air-conditioned car, for 30 minutes and prayed. Then finally, I told myself, just do it. Just do it. So I put on my headphones, I stepped out of the car, and immediately started sweating. I walked north towards Denton for no more than 10 steps when all of a sudden, an SUV pulls over to the side of the road. As I'm walking by the SUV, the driver lets down the window and says, "Do you need a ride?" I had already convinced myself that no one was going to pick me up, so this sort of threw my mind into a loop, and I just stared at him blankly without saying anything. He soon breaks the silence and says, "Unless you're out here just getting a workout." I came back to my senses and hopped in the SUV. In the car, there was a child, the driver's son, who was about 5 or 6 years old in the seat directly behind me, who was very excited because they were about to go to the lake. Seeing his son made this experience even more shocking to me. Not only did this guy not have to stop to pick me up, he had an excuse. He had a valid excuse for not picking me up. His child was in the car. His child was in the car, and yet he still stops to pick me up. He drops me off in Denton, asks me, do I need any other help? I say no, thank you, and then graciously thank him for his help. But he's not done giving. He then reaches into his wallet to hand me some money, which I quickly refused. I had plenty of money on me at the time. I was going to Oklahoma to play poker. But again, I was just amazed because his generosity was overflowing. I have never forgotten this random man's willingness to help a stranger. I have never forgotten how shocked I was that someone would pick me up off the highway. I've never forgotten being frozen inside of my car, and I've never forgotten how quickly someone swooped in to pick me up the moment I stepped out the car and took a few steps. Sometimes in life, you have to be courageous enough to take the first step and just trust that you'll get there. Proverbs 16:9 tells us, we can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. As shocked as I was, you would think that this was the first and only time in my life that I had been stranded with no transportation and no way to contact anyone. In fact, it was the third time this had happened to me. Different times, different people, different places, but my dilemma was the same. Stay put or have the courage to move towards my destination. Proverbs 20:24 tells us, a person's steps are directed by the Lord. How then can anyone understand their own way? How then can anyone understand their own way? How? Martin Luther King Jr. told us, you don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. And I agree. Just take the first step and know that you have a big God that wants the best for you. Till next time. Thanks for tuning in. You can find the iWorthy podcast on all major platforms. For more Christian content, visit us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Meditate Word. Till next time.
Looking at the mirror and what I see, iWorthy. Haters can't stop what is meant to be. iWorthy. I get up every time I fall down, 'cause the world keeps spinning around. And after everything is said and